من گرویی زین حدیث عاقبت سوزتر کنم، خنده مستانه ای زین تلخی نابشرا، اشک دل فریاد مستانه به نامش برکنم. یاد بادا یاد بادا یاد بادا ساقیا آن روی همچو را، آن نگاه اغلله در احمق مشهور را. خنده بی مثل او بر دل دکانی هم زده، پنهان کرده در دل و مغز و روانم تو را.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Hi, Murin. Welcome to tonight's reading of 1001 Nights. Without further ado, I shall begin. And do not worry, at the end of tonight's reading, if the fire is still going nicely, I'm not going to put another log. Oh, look, I have an animal as well who's come to say hello. Hi, Georgie. If the fire keeps going, I will let you watch it at the end of tonight with a bit more music. Stop knocking the camera. See, this is the difference between a dog and a cat. Do you want to come and say hello? Look, say hello to everybody. Say hello, Georgie. Georgie, say hello. Yes, say hello, look. There's Georgie. Unfortunately, I can't put Georgie on my lap like Saman can her cat. So good evening, everybody. Yes, you're going to have to go away now, though, because I'm going to read. Okay, yes, I love you very much, but I'm still going to read. So if the fire keeps burning, stop, Georgie. If the fire keeps burning, go away, go lie down. Lie down, yes, lie down and I'll stroke you. But don't do that. So there'll be music and fire at the end. Unfortunately, I can't put another log on. We can only have the fire for the duration of the reading because the rest of where I live gets really, really cold and my family freeze. So, welcome everybody. My name is Joanna Godwin-Seidl. I'm your host this evening for a reading of 1001 Nights. And as is my wont, I am going to start the reading with two little poems from Rumi. Thank you, Georgie, for knocking my camera again. Thanks. Pets, everybody. Don't ever have them in films. So, the first poem is called The Allure of Love. Someone who does not run toward the allure of love walks a road where nothing lives. But this dove here senses the love hawk floating above and waits and will not be driven or scared to safety. So that's about the allure of love. And then this one is about beginnings. Begin. This is now. Now is. Don't postpone till then. Spend the spark of iron on stone. Sit at the head of the table. Dip your spoon in the bowl. Seat yourself next to your joy and have your awakened soul pour wine. Branches in the spring wind, easy dance of jasmine and cypress. Cloth for green robes has been cut from pure absence. You're the tailor, settled among his shop goods, quietly sewing. Isn't that lovely? I will put up both those poems in the comments of the reading afterwards, and please do feel free to share our readings with family and friends. We do put them up once or twice a week, all on YouTube, so you can follow them from www.youtube.com/Vienna Theatre Project and look for the playlist 1001 Nights. And now, I should be able to take off my glasses because the writing is big enough. Now, when it was the 429th night, Scheherazade said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that King Tehmus and his son and daughter-in-law went up to the terrace roof and enjoyed a prospect of the jinn guards battling with the beleaguering host. And King Kafid, still hanging between heaven and earth, also saw the slaughter of his troops and wept, saw, and buffeted his face. Nor did the carnage cease among the army of Hind for 2 whole days, till they were cut off even to the last man. Then Janshah commanded the Marid, by name Shimwal, chain up King Kafid with manacles and fetters and imprison him in a tower called the Black Bulwark. And when his bidding was done, King Tehmus bade beat the drums and dispatched messengers to announce the glad news to Janshah's mother, informing her of his approach. Whereupon she mounted in great joy, and she no sooner espied her son than she clasped him in her arms and swooned away for stress of gladness. They sprinkled rose water on her face till she came to herself, when she embraced him again and again and wept for excess of joy. And when the lady Shamsar knew of her coming, she bade to her and saluted her, and they embraced each other, and after remaining embraced for an hour, sat down to converse. Then King Tehmus threw open the city gates and dispatched couriers to all parts of the kingdom to spread the tidings of his happy deliverance. Whereupon all his princely vassals and emirs and the grandees of the realm flocked to salute him and give him joy of his victory and of the safe return of his son. And they brought him great store of rich offerings and curious presents. The visits and oblations continued for some time, after which the king made a second, a more splendid bride feast for the Princess Janshah, and bade decorate the city, and held high festival. Lastly, they unveiled and paraded the bride before Janshah with apparel and ornaments of the utmost magnificence. And when her bridegroom went into her, he presented her with 100 beautiful slave girls to wait upon her. Some days after this, the princess repaired to the king and interceded with him for Kafid, saying, "Suffer him return to his own land, and if henceforth he be minded to do thee a hurt, I will bid one of the jinn guards snatch him up and bring him to thee." Replied Tehmus, "I hear and I obey," and bade Shimwal bring him the prisoner, who came manacled and fettered and kissed earth between his hands. Then he commanded to strike off his chains, and mounting on a lame horse, said to him, "Verily, Princess Shamsah hath interceded for thee, so begone to thy kingdom. But if thou fall again to thine old tricks, she will send one of the Marids to seize thee and bring thee thither." Thereupon King Kafid set off homewards in the sorriest of plights. And Scheherazade perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. Now, when it was the 530th night, she said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that King Kafid set off homewards in the sorriest of plights, while Janshah and his wife abode in all solace and delight of life, making the most of its joyance and happiness." All this recounted the youth, sitting between the tombs unto Bulukia, ending with, "And behold, I am Janshah, who witnessed all these things, O my brother, O Bulukia." Then Bulukia, who was wandering the world in his love for Muhammad, whom Allah bless and keep, asked Janshah, "O my brother, what be these two sepulchres, and why sittest thou between them, and what causeth thy weeping?" He answered, "Know, O Bulukia, that we abode in all solace and delight of life, passing 1 year at home and the next at Takni, the castle of jewels, whither we betook not ourselves, but in the litter borne by the Marids, and flying between heaven and earth." Quoth Bulukia, "O my brother, O Janshah, what was the distance between the castle and thy home?" Quoth he, "Every day we accomplished a journey of 30 months, and the time we took was 10 days. We abode on this wise a many of years, till 1 year we set out for the castle of jewels, as was our wont, and on the way thither alighted from the litter in this island to rest and take our pleasure therein. We sat down on the river bank and ate and drank, after which the lady Shamsah, having mind to bathe, put off her clothes and plunged into the water. Her women did likewise, and they swam about a while, whilst I walked on along the bank of the stream, leaving them to swim and play and laugh with one another. And behold, a huge shark of the monsters of the deep seized the princess by the leg without touching any of the girls, and she cried out and died forthright, whilst the damsels fled out of the river to the pavilion to escape from the shark. But after a while they returned and taking up her corpse, carried her to the litter. Now, when I saw her dead, I fell down fainting, and they sprinkled water on my face till I recovered and wept over her. Then I dispatched jingards to her parents and family, announcing what had befallen her. And in the shortest time, they came to the spot and washed her and shrouded her, after which they buried her by the riverside and made mourning for her. They would have carried me with them to their own country, but I said to King Shallam, I beseech thee to dig me a grave beside her tomb, that when I die, I may be buried by her side in that grave. Accordingly, the king commanded one of his marids to do as I wished, and after which they departed and left me here to weep and mourn for her till I die. And this is my story and the cause of my sojourn between these tombs. And he repeated these two couplets. The house, sweetheart, is now no home to me, since thou art gone, nor neighbour neighbourly. The friend whilom I took to heart no more, its friend and brightest lights lose brilliancy. But when Bulukiya heard of Janshah's tale, he marvelled, and Scheherazade perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. Now, when it was the 431st night, she said, it has reached me, O auspicious king, that when Bulukiya heard of Janshah's tale, he wondered and exclaimed, by Allah, methought I had indeed wandered over the world and compassed it about, but now I forget all I have seen after listening to your tale, to these adventures of thine. He was silent a while, and then resumed, I beg thee, of thy favour and courtesy, to direct me in the way of safety. So Janshah directed him into the right road, and Bulukiya farewelled him and went his ways. All this the Serpent Queen related to Hasib Karim al-Din, and he asked her, but how knowest thou of these things? And she answered, O Hasib, thou must ken that I had occasion some 25 years ago to send one of my largest serpents to Egypt, and gave her a letter for Bulukiya, saluting him. So she went there willingly, for she had a daughter in the land called Bint Shumuk. And after asking anent Bulukiya, she found him and gave him my misdeed. He read it and replied to the messenger snake, thou comest from the Queen of Serpents, who I am minded to visit, for I have an occasion to her. And she replied, I hear, and I obey. Then she bore him to her daughter, of whom she took leave, and said to her companion, close thine eyes. So he closed them, and opening them again, behold, he found himself on the mountain where I am. Then his guide carried him to a great serpent, whom he saluted, whereupon quoth she, didst thou deliver the missive to Bulukiya? And she replied, even so, and he hath accompanied me, and here he standeth. Presently, Bulukiya asked after him the Serpent Queen, and the great serpent answered, she hath gone to the mountain Kaf with all her host, and as is her wont in winter, but next summer she will come hither again. As often as she goeth thither, she appointeth me to reign in her room during her absence. If thou have any occasion to see her, I will accomplish it for thee. Said he, I beg thee, bring me the herb, which whoso crusheth and drinketh the juice thereof sickeneth not, neither groweth grey nor dieth. I will not bring it, said the serpent, till thou tell me what befell thee since thou leftest the queen of the serpents to go with Afan in quest of King Solomon's tomb. So he related to her all his travels and adventures, together with the history of Janshah, and said at last, grant me my request, and I may return to mine own country. Replied the serpent, by the virtue of the Lord Solomon, I know not where is to be found the herb whereof thou speakest. Then she bade the serpent which had brought him thither carry him back to Egypt. So the messenger obeyed and said to him, shut thine eyes. He did so, and opening them again, found himself on the mountain of Mukatam. When I returned from the mountain of Kaf, added the queen, the serpent, my deputy, informed me of Bulukiya's visit and gave me his salutations and repeated to me his story and his meeting with Janshah. And this, O Hasib, is how I came to know the adventures of Bulukiya and the history of Janshah. Thereupon Hasib said to her, O queen, deign recount to me what befell Bulukiya as regards his return to Egypt. She replied, know, O Hasib, that when he parted from Janshah, he fared on nights and days till he came to a great sea. So he anointed his feet with the juice of the magical herb, and walking over the face of the waters, sped onwards till he came to an island abounding in trees and springs and fruits, as it were the Garden of Eden. He landed and walked about till he saw an immense tree with leaves as big as the sails of a ship. So he went up the tree and found under it a table spread with all manner meats, whilst on a branch of the branches sat a great bird, whose body was of pearls and leek green emeralds, its feet of silver, its beak of red carnelian, and its plumery of precious metals. And it was engaged in singing the praises of Allah the Most High and blessing Muhammad, on whom be benedictions and peace. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. So that is it from me this evening, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who joined and listened into the reading, hi Dunya. For those of you who, hi Mohammed, if I didn't say that, hi Moran again. For those of you who listened in and joined me, thank you very, very much. For those of you who listen later, it's always a great pleasure to read for you, and you must join live. It's a lot of, well, I don't know that it's a lot of fun or very different, but it's certainly very nice to read live for you all. It's something very special. And unfortunately, as some of you will know, we here in Austria are in lockdown, which makes reading live in the evenings a lot easier because we can't go anywhere. And it actually does beat watching television. So I'm going to turn over the log and hope I can get a bit of fire burning again and leave with you with the beautiful music of Kamyab Sadeghi for about 5 minutes, and you can enjoy the log fire burning. And I will wish you all many salams and a very, very beautiful and very good night.
جستش همچو پری زیبا خرامان دلبرک چشمکش مانند پتکی قلب عاشق را ترک لب نشان روی مهرویان همی دارد به روخ گیسوان چون کمندش فاصله عاشق درک دیدمش من روز اول دیدمش من روز اول یک نصد دل دادمش جلوه ای از عشق رسوا نهانم دادمش لیک چشم ظالم و عاشق کشش را بست و رفت این دل بیچاره را برد و چرزان دادمش
Good night, everybody.